Hello there, my name's Harry from HS Carpentry. Welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be carrying on with our sunroom. So you last saw us assembling the second side. So we obviously at that point we had then both the sides built up with the sole plates and everything. Now we're working on the gables. So as we have it set out at the moment, this is the top plate and obviously this is where the legs go in. So essentially that down there would be the bottom. And we've set up our leg here. So what we're going to do is overlay our gable joist, our gable beam, from the top point, which we've now got that measurement from our shoulder there. We'll lay it up to the top there. We'll lay it up down here where it's going to meet and intersect with the tie beam. Once we've got that, we'll mark our shoulders, cut our tenons, put it back on, check the shoulders, mark the tenons on the top plate and on our leg at the house. Then we can mortise that in, prick and podge everything, and then we're good to go then. And then that's the gable build up pretty much done. And then after that, we're then on and we can run in the top section, which is a case of the 2 half laps at either end, a tenon at either end, and then obviously the leg in the middle where the set of French doors are going to go. And then the frame is pretty much there. So that's what we're going to do now. Overlay this, set this out, mark this up, and yeah, so we'll get that done now and then see how we're doing for time as to whether we start the tie beam or not today. That's heavy, that one. That's it. I got this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, happy? Cool. Sorry? Yeah, spot on. So now that we've got this overlaid, we've got this in the right position now, because we've got the half lap already taken out of the top plate, we put the square through, and obviously the internal corner of that square marks out where that top plate is going to finish. And on this side, we mark our tallest point, which is right at the back of this 6x6 that goes up against the house. We come down from there, and then we know that by the time we've made that cut there, that then travels up and gives us our final height. So this is exactly where it goes. So now it's just a case of marking the shoulders nice and tight to the underside, and then we'll come around, square that line, mark our tenons, and then we're good to cut everything out then.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go.
Okay, so you just saw us do the time lapse of cutting the tenons on the sort of gable beam. So now we've put it back on now. Checked our shoulders, which are lovely. We've marked our tenons out. We've got to take 30mm off of this because we'll only have 120mm tenon to save that. And obviously this material is going from that point to that point, as you can see there. So that will get cut off like so. So we needed to haunch on here to save that from breaking out. And then down the other side, over here, we have quite the tenon here. That's going to get cut back to here to save any. I wanted to keep it away from this junction here because this is quite a busy junction. Obviously we've got a half lap and the 150mm tenon going through, so we'll cut that to save having to ruin the integrity of anything there. Then obviously that will come back to there. That fits into this, bit easier to get out, and obviously that material was never there anyway. And then what we'll do is we'll have probably 1, 2 and 3 pegs in that one there, and 2 in the top. So what we're going to do now, we've marked these out, we'll cut the mortises and then try for a test fit. So we didn't actually film it much when we were assembling these, but we got the left hand side of the gable built, and now it's time to work on the tie beam. So this is going to be the biggest beam that stretches across the front of the sunroom, and obviously now is the time to do our half laps in both ends to marry up to each side of the top plate. So we'll get those in and get the mortises done. Then we can fit the legs into there and then tenon in the external legs of each of those of each of the returns and create our opening for our French doors then. So that's the plan now. Will's now going to mark out the half lap on this side, I'll do this side, and we'll quickly cut these in. And once we've cut these in, we can then look to level it out on the floor as we always do and have a test fit of everything. So that's the plan, and we'll set it up now.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.
So it's the next day. You last saw us yesterday. You saw a time lapse of us taking apart and pricking the front with the tie beam, the legs, and the top plates in, and obviously we sorted those half laps out. And really that's the bulk of the frame now done. So yesterday afternoon we stacked that up, and then we had another job to go to at the end of the day yesterday, so we put that away. And now this morning, Will's been in here this morning planing up some material for the glazing beads, which I'll show you in a sec. And now we've kind of just decided we're going to have a day inside today. We're going to finish off these glazing beads, so that's one thing done. We're also going to machine up the sills as well. So at the bottom of each glass panel is going to be like a small sill, which is basically just a bigger replica of the glazing bead, and obviously with a drip on it to keep the water off the frame as much as possible. And then I'll also work up the drawings for the French doors and windows. So I'll quickly show you what we're up to now. So Will spent a bit of time planing up some of our English oak and turning them into glazing beads, and now we are running the rebate. So that is the profile. So that is the profile that you can see. We've got the bevel on this edge, square edge at the bottom, the rebate where it's going to lip over the frame, just so that as the frame shrinks a little bit, we've got a bit of a countant for that there, so that we don't have any sort of cracks starting to appear after a while. So yeah, so that's basically it. These are all English oak, and obviously we've got a nice pile of them there. So we set the spindle moulder up, and we also made some new fences for this because the alley ones that came with this just didn't really like them very much at all. So we've just made some Morocco ones quickly, set that up, and now Will's going to run the rest of the rebates through on the rest of the glazing beads. And then we will run up the sills out some more English oak and work up the drawings for the French doors.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
Okay, so it's a little bit later in the afternoon now. We've just been playing and machining, and I've worked out the French doors and set up a rod for that. And we've just pulled off the material from the wood rack, and Will's now going to start machining up said material, which is on the bench behind me. So he's just establishing what units he's getting from what pieces. So I'll quickly show you now. what we've been up to. Okay, so this is our glazing bead material here. You can see the detail now and how we've done it. So yeah, hopefully the camera follows my finger. So as you can see here, we've got the rebate at the back of the glazing bead. That sits into the frame, and then that little 5mm lip there just covers that green oak frame ever so slightly. So as the green oak moves, the glazing beads will still stay in the same point, and hopefully don't show too much cracking on there. There is going to be a lot of movement in the frame, as we all know, but hopefully this will just keep it looking as pristine and as crisp for as long as possible. Same as the sill over here. I've done a similar detail on the sill. I've done a rebate at the back, so that sits over the top of the frame, and this back edge here will butt up to the glass with a bead of silicone down it. The top is ever so slightly flat for the bead to meet up to, and then the bevel of the bead will run down, and we'll cut that into the bevel of the sill, and then obviously project out with a little drip edge on the bottom. Any water then can fall off. So yeah, it's quite a nice little detail, and hopefully, I didn't want anything too big because I don't want it to take too much away from the frame and look too out of place, but I think that's going to look great when that's on there. So yeah, so these are all ready for sanding. We're not going to do anything other than sand these. We'll cut all of these on site, fit them all on site, because they'll just be getting fixed with some silicone, because it will still move and allow everything to move, and some stainless steel pins. Obviously we always use stainless steel when we're working with oak. So Will's over here now just going through his cut list. We've pulled off all the timber we're going to use to get all of our door material out of. Obviously we've got a set of French doors, which I'll show you the drawing for now. So we've got all the door, the frame material, and then we've got some tongue groove boards going at the bottom. And as I mentioned, I worked up the rods for the French doors themselves. So we start at the bottom. Obviously we've got the sill. We know our height because we made the frame to said height there. We come up from here. This is then the point where the glass is going to start, because that's the point where the glass of the frame starts. So as you stand back and look at the building, all the glass will line through with the eye, which will look absolutely lovely. Then obviously we have this detail here. We're going to go for a little cock moulding on the rebate, which takes your eye away from that there being bigger. And other than that, oh, and then the glazing beads for these are ever so slightly smaller than the other ones, but these are the same glazing beads that we used on the stable door, which I think is going to be a really nice touch to have that the same as the stable door we've already made for these clients. So yeah, so we're going to get started on these. We decided to have a day inside today because the weather wasn't looking that great, but we stayed inside and we got quite a bit done. So yeah, pretty happy with the outcome, and yeah, we'll start machining this up ready for tomorrow, where hopefully we'll start making a crack at these French doors and hopefully cut some rebates into the glass of the sunroom. So, but yeah, so that's for the next video though, because I'm going to end this one here. So I really hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please leave a like. Don't forget to let me know what you thought, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much. See you again.